Welcome to Story Time. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that all of the October library programs for children will be either digital programs or take-home kits. So no in-person programs for the month of October. Check the library website just to keep on top of what's the most current news for library happenings. Our first story is Goodbye Summer, Hello Autumn by Kinnaird Pack. Did you know that it is actually autumn? It happened last week. Hello, late summer morning. Hello, trees. Hello, now that the cool winds have come, we love how our branches sway in the sun. Hello, playful foxes and singing blue jays. Hello, we are busy looking for food. Some of us are heading south to join our winter homes. Hello, walking stick and butterflies. Hello, we're surprised you saw us. We're trying our best to blend in, and we'll do the same in warmer places. Hello, beavers. Hello, chipmunks. Hello, we have no time to play because we're making cozy nests and dens. It will be cold soon and we want to get ready. Hello, flowers. Hello, we are leaning into the sun, enjoying the last summer rays. Some of us, like asters and phlox, are late bloomers. We make the end of the season even more colorful. Hello, thunder. Hello, you can hear my low rumble from far away. My clouds loom over the open fields and quiet hills. Hello, breezy wind. Hello, I love to whoosh, drizzle leaves through the misty streets. Hello, chill in the air. Hello, it's time to bring out your thick sweaters and scarves. Hello, puddle. Hello, now that the wind has come, I often get covered with fallen leaves. Hello, leaves. Hello, we are changing our colors. Some of us turn red or brown, while others turn gold or yellow. Dogwood leaves even turn purple. Hello, big orange sun. Hello, I am setting earlier and earlier now that summer is coming to an end, but I will see you again tomorrow. Goodbye, summer. Hello, autumn. And that is the end. Did you know there's two ways to say this, two words for this season of fall? You can use the word autumn or the word fall. They both mean the same season. Okay, this book, it has some counting in it. It's Count Down to Fall by Fran Hawk. Sweet gum leaves, orange, purple, and red, look like bright colored stars as they fall on earth's bed. 9 dogwood leaves, bright shining scarlet, drifting down, down, down like the tail of a comet. 8 beech tree leaves, like yellow cat's eyes, float gently down through the autumn skies. 7 pine cones and needles too pile on the ground for squirrels to chew. 6 linden leaves in valentine shapes reflect golden sun in autumn's landscapes. 5 prickly cases with nuts brown and hard pull leaves along with them as they thump in the yard. 4 craggy oak leaves, yellow, gold, and brown, tumble with the acorns that wear through shaggy crowns. 3 pointed maple leaves, yellow, orange, and red, bring helicopters with them as they twirl and spin ahead. Oval yellow birch leaves drop 2 by 2 by 2. Natives use birch bark to build their canoes. 1 quaking aspen leaf, yellow as butter, twists in the breeze as it shimmers and flutters. Needles and nuts and pods and seeds collect on the ground with the cones and the leaves. And what comes after fall? What season? Winter. And we get snow in the winter. And in the back of this book, it has pictures of all of the leaves and more information about the different trees. So you can read that when you check it out. So we counted down from 10 in that book. Can you put up 10 fingers? Let's see them. Let's count backwards or count down from 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job, you did it. You counted backwards from 10. Now remember we talked about the front of a book? Well, books also have a back. So they have a front and a back. And we always start reading the story from the front of the book. And this one is called The Ant and the Grasshopper by Luli Gray. Ant was rich. His house was very grand with many rooms, and the storeroom was his favorite. All through the spring and summer, he worked hard gathering things to eat for winter, and every afternoon he went to the storeroom to count them. By June, he had 947 beans, 28 raisins, and a fine smelly wedge of yellow cheese. 945, he counted, 946, 947. Then he took exactly 3 bites of cheese. Delicious, he said, and began to count his raisins. One day, as he sat counting, he heard a noise. Shh, he said, I'm counting. The noise went on, and Ant opened the door, and there on his lawn stood a grasshopper playing a fiddle. Well, I never, said the ant. Well, I always, said the grasshopper. It's June, Ant. The sun is warm, the sky is blue. Come out and dance. I'll play for you. Huh, said Ant. You should be storing up food for winter, not fiddling around wasting time. All summer long, Ant worked hard. Every afternoon he counted his beans and his raisins and his cheese, and all summer long he heard Grasshopper playing his fiddle and singing. Sometimes the music got into Ant's head and made him lose count. 24, no, 26. Oh, drat that hoppergrass. September came. It was harvest time, and Ant added to his rich store. He had 604 kernels of corn, 72 peanuts, and a piece of ham bigger than he was. Delicious and nutritious, he said. Come, ye thankful creatures, come sing a song of harvest home. All is safely gathered in ere the winter storms begin, sang Grasshopper, peeking in the window. Oh, hush, said Ant, yanking down the shade. October came with bright leaves tumbling on a breeze that carried a promise of winter. Ant sat fidgeting at his desk trying to add up his accounts, but his pen kept making swans out of 2s and fat snowmen out of 8s, and the numbers hopped around in his head, refusing to settle down. 604 kernels of corn gathered on a summer morn. No, no, no. 7 ounces of ham. Yes, ma'am. Oh, for heaven's sakes, what's wrong with me? He heard a tap, tap, tapping and flung open the door. Oh, Ant, let me in. There's a good fellow. It's getting cold and I'm so hungry. Ha, said Ant. I knew it was you with your fiddly-doo. I warned you. You danced and sang all summer while respectable folk worked hard for a living, and it serves you right. Good night. And he slammed the door and went back to counting. What do you think is going to happen to Grasshopper? Do you think Ant will let him in? Let's make a prediction. Tell your friend or someone you're watching with, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, let's find out. November blew in, cold and blustery. Whoo, cried the wind, rattling the windows while Ant paced back and forth. I'm sure I don't know what's gotten into me, he muttered. He sat down by the fire, watching the flames dance up the chimney. I wonder, said Ant. I wish the clock struck 10. Bong, 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 bong. Ant went to bed. But fragments of rhyme and wisps of music jangled about in his head. He thrashed and killed and kicked till the bedclothes were all a tangle. Then at last he fell asleep, and he dreamed as he stood on a stage before a great crowd that shouted, "Play, dance, sing!" And he couldn't play a note or dance a dance, and he opened his mouth to sing, but there wasn't one song in him, no song at all. I can't, I'm an ant! Boo, roared the crowd, boo! Ooh, Ant had a bad dream. The cold, hateful booing blew Ant right out of bed with a bump, and he woke up. That night had grown quiet, too quiet, thought Ant. He ran to the door, and there on the step lay Grasshopper, barely visible under a thick layer of snow. Grasshopper, is that you? Said Ant. What are you doing? Get up, go home. Don't have a home, he said, his teeth chattering. No, home, exclaimed Ant. I never heard of such a thing. After a moment, Ant dragged Grasshopper into the house, where he laid him by the fire in the second best peanut shell. Cold, Grasshopper said, shivering. Oh, yes, poor fellow, have some hot cider, said Ant. But Grasshopper was shivering too hard to swallow. Here, said Ant, here are 5 delicious beans and 3 bites of nutritious cheese and 2 more delicious raisins. But Grasshopper was shivering too hard to eat. Ant tucked a dandelion down quilt around Grasshopper. I didn't know, said Ant. I had no idea. I didn't mean. Grasshopper's eyes opened, and he looked up at Ant. Hello, Ant, he said. Ha-choo! Bless you, said Ant, wiping the sneeze off his face. Bless you, said Grasshopper. Did I hear you mention beans and raisins? All through the winter, Grasshopper stayed with Ant, playing and singing every evening when Ant was done counting. One evening, as the old year drew to a close, the two friends sat by the fire. 1,142, said Ant, closing an account book with a sigh. Sometimes, he said, sometimes I wish I could just sing, just a bit, you know. Sing, said Grasshopper, anyone can sing, but working hard and counting are splendid things. Why, you saved my life with your 11 jillion beans, raisins, and corn. 1,142, actually, said Ant, including peanuts, but anyone can count. Not me, said Grasshopper. He played a chord on his fiddle. Did you know here we come a-waffling? He sang it 3 times through, and then rather shyly, and to tell the truth, quite off key, Aunt joined in. Here we come a-waffling with syrup and with jam. Here we come to dance a jig and eat a lot of ham. Pizza joy come to you, make pickles, mice, and glue. And we wish you and squish you a happy new year. And we wish you a happy new year. I wish I could sing like you, said Aunt. I love the way you sing, said Grasshopper. I wish I could count. Oh, Grasshopper, said Aunt. Everybody counts. That is the end. Did your prediction, was it right? Was it the same as the way the story ended? If it was, good job. And if it wasn't, that is okay too. That's the fun part of making predictions and reading a story. You never know how it might end. So since we're talking about fall, our letter is letter F today. What sound does F make? It's a soft sound, isn't it? And here's the word fall, and it starts with the F sound. And I drew a picture of a fall tree. What colors do you see? What colors are on fall trees? Or maybe the leaves have fallen to the ground. I see orange and yellow, maybe some brown and red, and a little bit of green still. All right. Our next story is a nonfiction story called Full of Fall. And this has pictures that are photographs, so they were taken with a camera. So long, summer, green goodbye. One leaf, another leaf, colors surge. Meet the trees, their shapes emerge. Hello, yellow. Greetings, gold. Oh, it's orange. Red, be bold. Leaves from trunks, light and dark. Ripples, reflections, berries, bark. Limbs and layers, leafy lanes, margins, midribs, sunlit veins, but soon trees are ready, twigs let go, leaves slip and spin. Wind sweeps, leaves blow. They drift and dry, their edges curl. They float and sink, they snag and swirl. So many leaves, the forest glows. Leaves fade and brown and decompose. Fall is ending. Goodbye, leaf show. Winter is coming. Oh, hello, snow. So, I want to show you a neat little trick that you can do with leaves. So if you get a piece of paper, just a white piece of paper, and if you go in your backyard or a park, somewhere around your house with a grown-up, you can find some leaves. You can pick them up off the ground, and these I just picked up from the yard out in front of the library today. And then you lay them on the table and put your paper over it, and then you pick out your crayons. Here's some crayons that I picked out. I'm going to start with orange. And you just color over it like this, see? Do you see what happens? The leaf shapes and the textures, so it looks on the paper how it feels. So the textures show up. And this is a special kind of art. It's called a rubbing. Let's do maybe one more in brown. Let's see how this works. And then the leaves that you had under your paper are now on your paper in pretty colors. So you can try that at home with just some crayons and paper and some leaves that you find. So our next story is called Fletcher and the Falling Leaves by Julia Ralston. Fletcher's name starts with our letter for today, doesn't it? Fletcher starts with F. The world was changing. Each morning when Fletcher bounded out of his den, everything seemed just a little bit different. The rich green of the forest was turning to a dusty gold, and the soft swishing sound of summer was fading to a crinkly whisper. Fletcher's favorite tree looked dull, dry, and brown. Fletcher was beginning to get worried. "I think my tree is sick," said Fletcher. "What's wrong with it?" his mother asked. "Its leaves are turning brown," said Fletcher. "Don't worry, it's only autumn," she said. Fletcher ran back to his tree and patted the rough bark. "Don't worry, it's only autumn," he said. "You'll be feeling better soon." But the tree didn't get better. Each day the more leaves turned brown. One morning the wind blew a small brown leaf off of a branch. Fletcher jumped and caught it very gently in his paw. "Don't worry, tree. I've got your leaf. I'll fix you." Fletcher looked around. He picked a piece of grass and carefully tied the leaf to a branch. Just then, another gust of wind ruffled Fletcher's fur. The little leaf shook itself free and fluttered back to the ground. Fletcher picked it up again and thought very hard. Then he poked the leaf into a twig and pushed it down firmly. "Now you hold on tight," said Fletcher. "No more flying around." The little leaf gave a tiny rustle in reply. The next day, a strong wind was blowing through the forest. Fletcher rushed out of the den and ran all the way to his tree. Lots of branches were bare, and little lost leaves spun everywhere. "Don't worry, tree, I'll catch them for you, I promise." Round and round and round whirled Fletcher after the swirling leaves. "Leaves, wonderful, just what I need for my nest," said a squirrel. "But these belong to the tree," said Fletcher. "Don't take them away." "The tree doesn't need them anymore," said the squirrel, bounding off. "Help, help, the wind and the squirrel are stealing our leaves," cried Fletcher. "Leaves? Terrific, just what I need to keep warm," said a porcupine, rolling around. "But these belong to the tree," said Fletcher, plucking the leaves from Porcupine's needles. "Not anymore," snuffled the porcupine, and away he rolled. "Help, help! The wind, the squirrel, and the porcupine are stealing our leaves," cried Fletcher. Suddenly, a flock of birds swooped down from the sky. They picked up the leaves in their beaks and poked them into the tree branches. Soon the tree was leafy again, and Fletcher flopped down and smiled. "Thank you, birds. Thank you," he gasped, and the birds fluttered away. He lay looking up through the leaves and at the sky and drifted off to sleep. But the wind continued to blow and the branches still danced. The leaves shivered and shook themselves and began to wiggle free. They tossed and turned and twitched and twirled and tumbled to the ground. They brushed Fletcher's ears and nose and filled his dreams with whispering sounds. When Fletcher finally woke up, he couldn't believe his eyes. Instead of a roof of dancing leaves, all he could see were bare branches against the sky. "Oh, tree, I'm so sorry," gulped Fletcher. "All your leaves are gone." But then he saw high in the branches one small leaf still holding on. "I won't let the wind steal this one," said Fletcher, and he began to climb. He crawled along to the last leaf, and he held it firmly to its branch. All day long the wind blew, the branch bounced, and Fletcher held tight. "I'll stay with you, leaf," he said. "Don't worry." But then, with a sudden whoosh of wind, the branch bounced high. With a plip, the leaf let go and fluttered like a little flag clutched in Fletcher's paw. Fletcher looked sadly at the leaf he had promised to save. He carried it carefully down the tree and back to the den. He made a cozy little bed for it and tucked it in. But all night long he could only think of his tree, all on its own. At dawn, Fletcher tiptoed outside. The wind had finally stopped blowing. The air was cold. The moon still hung in the clear sky, and pale stars glimmered. As he came to his favorite tree, Fletcher saw a magical sight. What do you think that sight's going to be? Let's find out. Look at that. The tree was hung with 1,000 icicles shining silver in the early light. "You are more beautiful than ever," whispered Fletcher. "But are you all right?" A tiny breeze shivered the branches, making a sound like laughter, and in the light of the rising sun, the sparkling branches nodded. Fletcher gave his tree a hug, then he went back to the den for a nice, warm breakfast. And that is the end of that story. Thank you for joining me for story time. We'll do another one next week. Bye.